If you're watching this tonight, maybe your patience has been stretched thin. Maybe waiting feels impossible. Maybe you've been praying for answers, but heaven feels silent. Yet here's the truth. Jesus has not forgotten you. Patience isn't about gritting your teeth. It's about trusting the one who holds tomorrow. Rest doesn't come from your strength. It comes from his peace. And tonight, you don't have to strive anymore. You can breathe. You can release the weight of when and how into his hands. Tonight, we'll walk through 20 chapters of Scripture that remind you of this. God's timing is perfect. His promises are sure, and your waiting is not wasted. Wherever you are, tired, restless, or longing, come rest. Let Jesus fill you with patience, and let his word steady your soul. Father, you see the child listening tonight. You know the weight of waiting, the ache of unanswered prayers, the frustration that whispers, "Not yet." Lord, calm their racing thoughts and remind them that your delays are never your denials. Fill them with patience that doesn't run dry, with peace that doesn't depend on outcomes, and with faith that keeps holding on. Let every verse tonight breathe rest into their spirit and assurance into their heart. In Jesus' name, amen. Waiting is never easy. It stretches your heart, tests your patience, and stirs questions you cannot answer. You pray, and the silence lingers. You hope, and the waiting grows long. In those moments, fear creeps in and whispers, "What if God has forgotten you? What if nothing changes? What if you are left alone?" But into that very place of uncertainty, the psalmist lifts his voice and declares, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord." Psalm 27 begins with confidence. "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" David, the writer, had many reasons to be afraid. Enemies pursued him, danger surrounded him, and his future often seemed uncertain. Yet he declared boldly that God was his refuge, his stronghold, his source of courage, light for his path, salvation for his soul, strength for his heart. Even when the waiting was long, David reminded himself that God was faithful. Think of what it means for the Lord to be your light. Darkness may cloud your vision, making tomorrow look uncertain. But his light shines, guiding each step, one at a time. You may not see the entire path, but you see enough to take the next step. And with each step, his presence surrounds you. He is not only light for your journey, he is salvation for your soul. Your hope is not in circumstances, but in him who never changes. Waiting on the Lord does not mean doing nothing. It means leaning into trust. It means choosing faith, even when fear feels stronger. It means believing that God's timing is perfect, even when your heart longs for answers now. Waiting is not wasted when it is filled with trust. In the waiting, God strengthens your heart. In the waiting, he deepens your faith. In the waiting, he draws you closer to himself. David prayed, "One thing I ask from the Lord, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life." His greatest desire was not just rescue from enemies, but nearness to God. That is the gift of waiting. It teaches us to long for God himself more than for the answers he gives. His presence becomes our peace. His love becomes our strength. His faithfulness becomes our anchor. Perhaps tonight, you are waiting. Waiting for healing. Waiting for provision. Waiting for direction. Waiting for peace. Waiting wears on the soul. But hear the psalmist's encouragement. Be strong and take heart. Strength does not mean you will never feel weary. It means you choose to trust even when weary. Taking heart does not mean you never feel afraid. It means you choose to believe that God is greater than your fear. Picture yourself now, placing your waiting into God's hands. Every unanswered prayer, every longing that has not yet been fulfilled, every tomorrow that feels uncertain. Imagine Him holding it all with care, whispering, "I see you. I know you. I will not fail you." His timing may not match yours, but His timing is perfect. His silence is not absence, it is preparation, and His promise remains. Those who wait for Him will never be put to shame. So tonight, let your heart breathe. You do not have to solve tomorrow. You do not have to know every answer. You simply have to wait for the Lord, not for chance, not for people, not for circumstances. Wait for the one who is faithful, the one who is your light, your salvation, your stronghold. Let these words be your lullaby as you drift to sleep. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord. As repeat them slowly until they settle into your spirit. For the God who carried David through danger and fear is the same God watching over you tonight. His light will guide you. His love will hold you. His presence will sustain you. And in His perfect time, He will answer. Life moves in seasons. Some seasons are filled with joy, laughter shared around a table, new beginnings, answered prayers. Others are heavy, loss that lingers, doors that close, prayers that seem unanswered. The writer of Ecclesiastes understood this rhythm deeply. He begins with words both simple and profound. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. The list continues, reminding us that life is not one unbroken line of happiness or sorrow, but a tapestry woven with both. Seasons change. Some feel longer than we would like, others pass too quickly. But through it all, God is at work. And then comes the promise that steadies the soul. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Not everything feels beautiful when we are in the middle of it. Some seasons feel messy, confusing, or unbearably painful. But the hand of God is weaving something larger than we can see, like a master artist. He's shaping colors and textures, blending dark and light, until the final picture reveals its beauty. What seems broken now will one day reflect His glory. Think of how a garden works. In winter, the ground looks barren, lifeless. But beneath the soil, roots are strengthening, seeds are preparing, and life is quietly forming. Spring reveals what winter hid. Blossoms, color, growth. So it is with your life. Some seasons feel like winter, silent, dark, waiting. But God has not forgotten you. He is preparing something beautiful that will bloom in its time. Waiting can be the hardest part. We want answers now, change now, resolution now. But beauty often requires waiting. Gold must pass through fire before it shines. Clay must be shaped and fired before it becomes strong. Seasons of waiting are not wasted. They are sacred ground where God is forming strength, patience, and faith within you. The writer also says that God has set eternity in the human heart. That is why we long for more than what we see. Why we ache for beauty beyond the brokenness. Why our souls feel restless in the face of pain. We were made for eternity, for the presence of God, where every season finds its fulfillment. Until then, we live in the tension, holding joy and sorrow together, trusting that God is writing a story larger than our moment. So tonight, let your heart rest in this truth. The season you are in is not the whole story. If it is a season of laughter, give thanks. If it is a season of tears, trust that they are not wasted. If it is a season of waiting, remember that God has not abandoned you. His timing is not late, it is perfect. And when the time is right, beauty will rise from the ashes, light will pierce the darkness, and joy will return. Picture yourself handing this season, whatever it looks like, into God's hands. Whisper to Him your fears, your hopes, your longings. Then hear His quiet assurance. I am making everything beautiful in its time. Those words are not a vague comfort, they are a promise from the one who holds time itself. So close your eyes tonight with hope. Seasons will come and go, but God remains steady. His love is constant, His plan is good, and His timing is perfect. And one day, when you look back, you will see what He already sees now. That everything, yes, even this, was made beautiful in its time. The book of Lamentations was born out of pain. The city of Jerusalem had fallen, the people were in despair, and grief weighed on every heart. The writer does not hide the sorrow. He names it honestly. Darkness, bitterness, loneliness, loss. It is the language of a soul that has seen too much suffering. Perhaps you know what that feels like. Nights when sorrow clings close. Days when it seems easier to despair than to hope. And yet, right in the middle of this book of mourning, a light breaks through. The writer lifts his eyes from the ruins and declares words that have carried generations. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, therefore I will wait for Him. Pause and let those words sink in. In the darkest place, He remembers mercy. When everything else is stripped away, He remembers love. He realizes that despair does not have the final word. God's compassion does. His mercies are not old or worn out. They are new with every sunrise. Each morning brings a fresh supply of grace, enough for the day ahead. Think of what it means for the Lord to be your portion. A portion is what sustains you, what fills your need. The world may promise comfort in possessions, success, or people, but all of these can fade. The Lord alone is your portion that never runs dry. When you have Him, you have enough. When everything else is shaken, He remains steady. Then comes the promise. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul who seeks Him. Waiting is never easy. It stretches your patience, it tests your trust. Yet waiting is not wasted when it is placed in God's hands. To wait for Him is to believe that His timing is better than yours, that His plan is wiser, that His love will not fail. Waiting becomes an act of worship, a declaration that you trust Him even in the silence. Picture a weary traveler pausing on a long road. He is tired, uncertain, and ready to give up. Then he remembers. Help is coming. The strength he needs will arrive. So he waits, not passively, but with hope. In the same way, waiting on the Lord is not about doing nothing. It is about holding on to hope, lifting your eyes, and trusting that the God who promised is faithful. Perhaps tonight you are in a season of waiting. Waiting for healing, waiting for an answer, waiting for peace. The silence feels heavy, and impatience stirs in your heart, yet Lamentations whispers, "The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, not indifferent, not cruel, good." His goodness is woven into the waiting, even if you cannot see it yet. So as you lay down, let these words become your comfort. Great is your faithfulness. Say them slowly. Let them cover your doubts. His faithfulness is greater than your fear, stronger than your weakness, steadier than your questions. The sun will rise tomorrow, and with it, His mercies will be new again. Tonight, You do not need to solve every problem. You do not need to see the whole plan. You simply need to wait. And while you wait, to trust that God is good. His compassion will not fail you. His love will not abandon you. His faithfulness will not end. So close your eyes and rest, beloved child of God. You are not consumed by sorrow, for His mercy holds you. You are not alone in waiting, for His presence surrounds you. You are not without hope, for His faithfulness is great. And in His perfect time, you will see. The Lord is indeed good to those who wait for Him. Waiting is one of the hardest lessons of faith. You pray, you long, you ask God to move, and yet silence lingers. Answers seem delayed. Promises feel far away. That was the struggle of the prophet Habakkuk. He looked around and saw injustice, violence, and pain. He cried out to God, asking why things were allowed to continue. Why was evil thriving? Why did help seem so slow? And then the Lord answered him with words that reach into every waiting heart. Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. These words remind us that God's timing is not our timing. We see the present moment and grow impatient. He sees the whole picture and works with perfect wisdom. The vision, the fulfillment of His promises, may seem delayed to us, but to Him, it is right on time. It will not fail. It will not disappear. It will come at the exact moment He has appointed. Think of a seed planted deep in the soil. For weeks, nothing is visible. The ground looks the same day after day, and you wonder if anything is happening. But beneath the surface, life is stirring. Roots are spreading, strength is forming, and in time, the seed will break through with green shoots. So it is with God's vision for your life. Just because you cannot see it now does not mean nothing is happening. In hidden ways, God is preparing, aligning, and shaping the outcome. Habakkuk is also reminded of the posture of waiting. The righteous shall live by faith. To live by faith is to keep trusting even when sight fails. It means choosing hope when fear shouts, choosing patience when impatience demands control, choosing to believe God's word over your own doubts. Faith does not erase the waiting, but it gives you strength to endure it with courage. Perhaps you are waiting right now, waiting for healing, for breakthrough, for clarity, for peace. The days feel long, and the silence feels heavy. Yet God whispers the same truth to you. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. His promises are not fragile. His plans are not uncertain. What He has spoken will come to pass, and nothing can stop it. Waiting is not wasted time. It is shaping time. It is the space where God grows perseverance, deepens trust, and teaches your heart to lean fully on Him. While you wait, He is strengthening you. While you wait, He is preparing what is ahead. And one day, the vision will come, and you will see that every moment of waiting was part of His perfect design. So tonight, let these words settle into your spirit. The vision awaits its appointed time. God has not forgotten you. His promises are not lost. His plan has not failed. You may not see the whole picture, but He does. And when the time is right, it will unfold in beauty greater than you imagined. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Release the need to control tomorrow. Rest in the truth that God's timing is never late, never early, always perfect. Trust that even now, beneath the surface, He is at work. And let faith carry you through the waiting until the vision becomes reality. There are days when your body feels heavy, when your spirit feels worn, and when the thought of taking just one more step feels impossible. Life has a way of draining strength. Through endless responsibilities, through unanswered prayers, through battles you never expected to face, you lie down at night with exhaustion in your bones, wondering if you will ever feel strong again. Into that place of weakness, Isaiah's words speak like fresh wind to a weary soul. Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Isaiah begins by reminding us who God is, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who stretches out the stars and calls them each by name. He does not grow tired or weary. His understanding is beyond ours. And then comes the tender promise. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. This is the God who knows your limits, yet offers his limitless strength in return. Think of what it means to wait on the Lord. Waiting is not passive. It is not idly standing by, doing nothing. Waiting on the Lord is leaning into trust, anchoring your hope not in your own ability, but in His. It is turning your gaze from your weakness to His strength, from your questions to His promises, from your exhaustion to His unfailing power. Picture an eagle in flight. At first glance, it may seem as if the bird is effortlessly gliding, yet what sustains it is the unseen wind beneath its wings. In the same way, when you wait on the Lord, it is His Spirit that lifts you. You are not flapping wildly in your own effort. You are carried by His strength. You rise above the storm, above the chaos, above the noise. Not because the storm has vanished, but because He has given you wings to soar. Isaiah promises not only soaring, but also the strength to keep running and walking. There will be seasons when you feel lifted high, full of vision and joy. But there will also be seasons when you are simply putting one foot in front of the other. And even then, the Lord renews your strength. You may not feel like an eagle soaring every day, but His power will sustain you in both the extraordinary and the ordinary. Perhaps tonight you feel faint, spiritually, emotionally, or physically. You have given so much, and the tank feels empty. Hear this truth. You are not expected to supply your own strength. God is the giver of strength, and He delights to renew those who wait for Him. He does not scold the weary. He lifts them. He does not shame the weak. He strengthens them. So what does it look like to wait? It looks like pausing, breathing, and turning your attention to Him. It looks like whispering a prayer when you have no words left. It looks like opening your hands and saying, "Lord, I cannot, but You can." And in that surrender, His strength begins to flow. As you prepare to rest tonight, picture yourself laying down your exhaustion before Him. Imagine His presence like a gentle wind, lifting you, steadying you, carrying you. Hear His promise echo. Those who wait on Me will renew their strength. Not might renew, not sometimes renew, will renew. It is a certainty, rooted in His faithfulness. Close your eyes with that assurance. You do not need to strive to find strength within yourself. You only need to wait, to rest, to trust. And as you do, the Lord will renew you. Tomorrow you may find yourself walking with greater peace. Someday soon, you may find yourself soaring again. But tonight, simply let Him hold you. For the God who never grows weary is watching over you. And His strength will be enough, not just for tonight, but for every tomorrow to come. Trials are a part of life. They come without warning, like sudden storms sweeping across a calm sky. Sometimes they are small inconveniences, Other times they are life-altering burdens that leave you wondering how you will carry on. James, writing to early believers who were scattered and suffering, spoke words that seem almost impossible at first. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Joy in trials? How can that be? James does not mean we must smile through pain or pretend hardships do not hurt. Instead, he is pointing to a deeper reality. Trials are not wasted. They are shaping you, forming you, strengthening your faith. What feels like breaking is often building. What feels like delay is often preparation. What feels like loss may be making room for growth. Think of perseverance as a craftsman working slowly and carefully. The blows of the hammer shape the metal. The pressure of the chisel carves the stone. The heat of the fire purifies the gold. In the moment, it may feel harsh, but the end result is something beautiful, something strong, something lasting. Perseverance is that craftsman in your life, patiently shaping your soul into maturity, making you whole. We often want quick answers and immediate relief. But James reminds us, let perseverance finish its work. Do not cut short the process. Do not rush past the lesson, the waiting, the enduring, the pressing on through difficulty. It all has a purpose. God is using it to deepen your character, to strengthen your faith, to prepare you for what is ahead. If you allow perseverance to complete its work, you will come out on the other side not weaker, but stronger. Not empty, but mature. Not broken, but whole. Perhaps tonight you feel worn from the trials you face. The road feels long, and joy feels distant. Hear James's words as a gentle reminder. This struggle is not the end of your story. God is at work even here. Every tear, every prayer, every step forward in faith is shaping you into someone who reflects His strength and His love more clearly. And remember this: you do not walk through trials alone. The same God who allows perseverance to shape you is the God who promises wisdom when you ask, comfort when you weep, and strength when you falter. James encourages us to seek wisdom from God, who gives generously without finding fault. When you feel confused, when you do not understand why this trial has come, you can ask Him for wisdom, and He will guide you. So tonight, let your heart rest in this truth. Perseverance is not punishment. It is preparation. The trial you are facing is not a sign of God's absence, but of His ongoing work in your life. He is shaping you into maturity, into completeness, into the person He designed you to be. Picture yourself in the hands of a loving craftsman. Each challenge is a tool in His hand, not meant to destroy, but to refine. Each difficulty is part of the process of forming you into something strong, resilient, and beautiful. And though the work may feel long, He will not stop until it is complete. As you close your eyes, whisper James's words to your soul. Let perseverance finish its work. Do not despair in the process. Trust the one who holds your life in His hands. The God who began this work in you will bring it to completion. And when the dawn comes, you will rise not just having survived, but having grown, matured, and been made whole by His grace. Suffering is something we would rather avoid. It wears on the body, it weighs on the spirit, and it makes us ask questions we don't always know how to answer. Why this? Why now? Why me? And yet, in Romans 5, Paul offers a perspective that turns suffering upside down. He writes, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. Paul does not glorify pain for its own sake. He does not say suffering is good, but he does say God can bring something good out of it, like a master craftsman who uses even the hardest materials to create something beautiful. God uses trials to shape us in ways comfort never could. Suffering becomes the soil where perseverance grows. Perseverance is the ability to keep walking when the road is long and steep. It is the quiet strength to rise each morning and take another step, even when you feel weary. And as perseverance takes root, it shapes character. Character is who you are when life strips away the easy answers. It is the depth of faith that remains when storms rage, the steady trust that holds when everything else shakes. And from character flows hope. Not a shallow hope that wishes things away, but a deep hope that is anchored in God's love. This hope is not embarrassed by disappointment, not silenced by setbacks, not broken by tears. It is a hope that looks beyond the present moment to the eternal promise of God's presence and redemption. Think of how this works in nature. A tree that has faced storms develops roots that run deeper. A diamond is formed under pressure. Gold is refined through fire. In the same way, your faith is strengthened through trials. What feels like breaking is often God's way of building. What feels like loss can be the ground where new life grows. Paul also reminds us why hope does not disappoint. Because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. This is not a trickle of love. It is a pouring, an overflowing abundance. Even in suffering, you are never empty. His love fills the cracks where pain has left scars. His Spirit whispers truth when lies of despair try to take root. His presence assures you that you are never walking through trials alone. Perhaps tonight you feel the weight of suffering. Grief you cannot name, struggles you cannot fix, waiting that feels endless. Hear Paul's words as more than theology. Hear them as a promise. This suffering is not meaningless. It is producing something in you. Perseverance, character, hope. And hope will not let you down, because it is rooted not in circumstances, but in God's unfailing love. So as you prepare to rest, picture your life as clay in the hands of a potter. The pressure, the shaping, the refining, it all feels uncomfortable, but it is creating something beautiful and strong. God is not wasting your pain. He is using it to form you into someone who reflects His love more deeply, His grace more clearly, His hope more fully. Let this be your prayer tonight. Lord, use even this to shape me. Give me perseverance in the struggle, character in the waiting, and hope that does not fade. Then breathe deeply, releasing the weight of what you cannot control. Rest in the assurance that the God who holds your suffering also holds your future. Close your eyes with this truth settled in your heart. Suffering is not the end. Perseverance will rise. Character will deepen. Hope will remain. And God's love will carry you through it all. There are seasons in life when faith feels heavy. You begin with excitement, believing God's promises, holding hope close. But as time stretches on, waiting becomes wearisome. Answers do not come quickly. Prayers feel unanswered. The road grows long. In those moments, it is tempting to let go, to step back, to wonder if the promise was ever real. The writer of Hebrews knew this struggle, and so he spoke directly into weary hearts. You need endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive what was promised. Endurance is more than just surviving. It is steady faith in motion, the ability to keep walking when your legs ache and your soul longs to stop. It is not glamorous. It is not easy. But endurance is the bridge between promise and fulfillment. Without it, you give up too soon. With it, you discover that God's timing, though different than yours, is always perfect. The believers who first read Hebrews faced intense trials. They were persecuted, rejected, and tempted to abandon their faith. The writer reminded them of how they had endured in the past, standing firm, even joyfully accepting loss, because they knew they had something greater waiting for them. Then he urged them, "Do not throw away your confidence now, for in just a little while he who is coming will come and will not delay. But my righteous one will live by faith." Waiting tests our faith like nothing else. It whispers lies. God has forgotten you. His promises are too good to be true. You should stop hoping. But endurance answers back, "No, God is faithful. His word will not fail. What he has spoken will come to pass." Endurance does not come from gritting your teeth alone. It comes from fixing your eyes on the one who is faithful. Think of a runner in a long race. At the halfway point, fatigue sets in. Muscles burn, lungs ache, and the temptation to quit grows strong. But the runner presses forward, not because the pain has vanished, but because their eyes are fixed on the finish line. In the same way, endurance in faith is keeping your eyes on Jesus, the one who endured the cross, who scorned its shame, and who now sits at the right hand of God. He is the proof that the finish line is real. Perhaps tonight you feel tired of waiting, tired of holding on to promises that seem far away, tired of walking in faith when you long for sight. Hear the words of Hebrews as if they are spoken directly to you. You need endurance, not as a burden, but as a gift. God gives you the strength to endure, the courage to keep believing, the faith to keep moving forward. And he promises that endurance will lead you to the fulfillment of what he has spoken. So as you prepare to rest, imagine laying your weariness before the Lord. Picture him lifting your chin, steadying your steps, whispering, "Do not give up. My promise is sure. Endure a little longer." Let his presence be the strength that carries you. Let his faithfulness be the reason you keep walking. Endurance is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is about waking up tomorrow and choosing again to trust him. And with every step, you are closer to the promise. The God who began this work in you will not leave it unfinished. He is faithful, he is steady, and his word will come to pass. So tonight, close your eyes with hope. You may be in the middle of the race, but the finish line is real. You may be weary, but you are not alone. The Lord himself is your strength, your endurance, your faithful companion. And in his perfect time, you will receive what was promised. Suffering has a way of making time feel heavy. A single day of pain can feel like a year. A season of loss can seem endless. When you are in the middle of it, it is easy to believe it will last forever. But Peter, writing to believers who were scattered, persecuted, and weary, offers a different perspective. He reminds them, and us, of this truth. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore you, confirm you, strengthen you, and establish you. Notice the promise begins with reality. After you have suffered a little while. Peter does not deny the reality of suffering. He does not tell us to pretend it isn't painful or to minimize our struggles. Instead, he places suffering in perspective. It is a little while. Compared to eternity, compared to the glory that is coming, suffering is temporary. It will not last forever. The night may feel long, but dawn is coming. And then comes the breathtaking assurance. The God of all grace will himself restore you, not through chance, not through your own effort. God himself will be the one who restores you. Think about that. The hands that formed the stars, that healed the sick, that raised the dead. Those same hands will touch the broken places in your life. He will restore what was lost, rebuild what was torn down, and breathe life into what felt hopeless. Peter piles on the promises. God will restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Restore, to bring back what was broken. Confirm, to steady your steps when you feel shaky. Strengthen, to give you resilience where you felt weak. Establish, to plant your life on a foundation that cannot be shaken. Each promise is personal, tender, and complete. And the source of it all? The God of all grace. Grace means you do not earn it. Grace means God's help comes not because you are strong, but because you are loved. Grace means His restoration is a gift, not a reward. The God of all grace does not run out of mercy. He does not tire of lifting you. He does not measure your worth by your strength, but by His love for you. Perhaps tonight, suffering feels close. You may feel the ache of grief, the sting of disappointment, or the weariness of carrying a burden too long. Hear Peter's words as a promise for you. This suffering will not last forever. The God of all grace sees you. He is with you. And in His perfect time, He will restore you. Waiting for restoration can feel lonely. But remember, you are not alone, even in the waiting. Earlier in the same chapter, Peter reminds us to cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. That is what you can do tonight. Take the weight of your worry, your pain, your fears, and hand them into His care. You were never meant to carry them alone. So imagine this as you prepare for rest. The suffering you face is a valley, but not an endless one. Beyond it lies a place of restoration, a place where God Himself will steady you and lift you up. Picture His hands gently setting broken stones back into place, His voice speaking strength into your spirit, His presence planting you firmly on ground that will never give way. Let this promise carry you as you close your eyes. After you have suffered a little while, He will restore you. The pain you feel is not forever. The hope you cling to is not in vain. The God of all grace is already at work, and in His perfect time, you will see His restoration. So rest tonight, not in your strength, but in His. Rest not in your ability to endure, but in His promise to restore. For the God who calls you to His eternal glory is the same God who walks with you now, and He will not leave you unfinished. There are moments in life when doing good feels exhausting. You pour out kindness, but it is not returned. You work hard in honesty, yet others take advantage. You serve faithfully, but the fruit seems small. Weariness creeps in, and a quiet voice whispers, "Why keep going? Why not give up?" Into that weary place, Paul writes to the church in Thessalonica with a simple but powerful encouragement. And as for you, brothers and sisters, never tire of doing what is good. Paul understood that goodness can feel costly. The Thessalonians were facing opposition, uncertainty, and discouragement. Some around them were choosing idleness or selfishness. But Paul called believers to stand firm, to keep doing what is right even when it felt hard. His reminder carries into your life today. Goodness is never wasted when it is rooted in God. Doing good is not about applause or recognition. It is not about immediate results. It is about reflecting the heart of Christ in a world that often chooses selfishness. Every act of kindness, every word of truth, every step of faith, seen or unseen, is part of a greater story. You may not always see the impact, but God does. And He promises that your labor in Him is never in vain. Think of how a farmer works. Day after day, He plants, waters, and tends the soil. For a long time, nothing seems to happen. The ground looks bare, and the work feels endless. But hidden beneath the surface, seeds are taking root. And in time, the harvest comes. So it is with doing good. The results may not appear right away, but God is growing something beneath the surface that will one day bear fruit. Paul also reminds the Thessalonians that God himself is faithful. The Lord is faithful, and he will strengthen you and protect you from the evil one. This is why you can keep going. Your strength is not drawn from your own reserves, which eventually run dry. Your strength is renewed by the Lord, who never wearies, who guards you, who walks beside you. When doing good feels tiring, his Spirit breathes fresh life into you, giving you the courage to continue. Perhaps tonight you feel weary. You have given much, but the return feels small. You have tried to love, but the response has been silence. You have chosen honesty, but it has cost you. Hear Paul's words as if they are spoken directly into your heart. Never tire of doing what is good. Why? Because your Father in heaven sees. Because goodness is never wasted. Because light always matters in darkness. And when you grow tired, remember this. You are not asked to run on empty. You are invited to rest in the one who is good himself. Jesus is your model, your strength, and your reward. He never gave up in showing love, even when it cost him everything. And his Spirit now lives in you, empowering you to walk the same path of goodness, step by step. So as you prepare to rest tonight, think of the good you have sown. Some seeds you may see sprout soon. Others may take longer. But all are seen by God, and none are wasted. Whisper this prayer. Lord, renew my heart. Give me strength to keep doing good. Help me to trust that you are working in ways I cannot see. Then close your eyes in peace. Let the weariness of the day fall away. Tomorrow may bring new challenges, but it will also bring new opportunities to reflect God's love. And as you continue, remember this promise. Goodness will bear fruit in its time, and the God who called you is faithful to strengthen you until the harvest. So rest tonight, child of God, with this truth settled in your soul. Goodness is never wasted, and with his strength, you will never tire of doing what is good. Think of a tree planted by streams of water. Season after season, its roots reach deep into the soil, and the tree grows strong, bearing fruit that brings nourishment and delight. Paul uses this picture when he speaks of the Spirit's work in our lives. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are not qualities we can force ourselves to produce. They are the natural fruit that grows when our lives are rooted in the Spirit of God. Love is the first fruit Paul names, because it is the root of all the others. God's love poured into your heart flows outward. Love that forgives, love that serves, love that remains even when others fail. Joy follows, not the fleeting joy of circumstance, but the deep gladness that comes from knowing you are God's child. Peace is next, the calm that holds your heart steady even when storms rage outside. And then patience, the quiet strength to wait, to endure, to love steadily through the long journey. Think of how fruit grows. It takes time, nourishment, and care. It cannot be rushed. In the same way, the Spirit slowly shapes us, day by day. You may not always notice the growth, but others will taste the fruit in your life. Through a kind word, a gentle response, a steady faith that shines even in hardship. The Spirit is cultivating something beautiful in you, even when you feel ordinary. Paul also reminds us that the opposite of the fruit of the Spirit is the works of the flesh: anger, selfishness, envy, division. Left on our own, these grow like weeds, choking joy and peace. But when we walk by the Spirit, we are freed from those chains. Life in the Spirit is not about striving harder, but about surrender. Letting Him fill you, guide you, and produce fruit through you. Perhaps tonight you feel weary, as though your life has not borne much fruit. Maybe you see more impatience than patience, more worry than peace, more frustration than love. Hear this gentle reminder. Fruit does not appear overnight. The Spirit is faithful. He has planted seeds in you, and in His time, they will grow. Do not despair if progress feels slow. God delights in the process, and He is shaping you more than you realize. Picture yourself as that tree by the water. The Spirit is the stream, flowing with life, nourishing your roots. Each day, as you draw near to Him, through prayer, through Scripture, through simple trust, your roots go deeper. And as they do, fruit begins to appear, not by force, but by grace. Love that surprises you, joy that wells up in unlikely moments, peace that calms your heart, patience that holds you steady. As you prepare to rest tonight, ask the Spirit to continue His gentle work in you. Whisper this prayer: Lord, let your fruit grow in me. Teach me to love more deeply, to rest in your joy, to dwell in your peace, to walk in patience. Then release the day into His hands. Trust that even in your sleep, He is still at work, tending the soil of your soul. Tomorrow may bring challenges that test your patience or moments that stretch your love. But the Spirit will be with you, producing in you what you cannot produce alone. His fruit is the evidence that you are His, and His life flows through you. So rest tonight with this assurance. You are like a tree planted by streams of water. You are being nourished by the Spirit of God, and in His perfect time, your life will overflow with fruit, love, joy, peace, patience, and more, that will bless you and everyone around you. Every morning you choose what clothes to put on. You stand before the closet, deciding what to wear for the day. Paul, in his letter to the Colossians, uses this simple, everyday image to paint a picture of how followers of Christ should live. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. It is a reminder that just as you dress your body each morning, you also choose what to put on your heart. Life will give you opportunities to respond in anger, in frustration, in selfishness. But Paul says, instead, put on compassion. Wrap yourself in kindness. Fasten humility around your shoulders. Cover yourself with gentleness, and let patience be the fabric that holds it all together. Think of compassion as the ability to see others through God's eyes. It is the willingness to pause and care, to notice the hurting, to extend love even when it costs you something. Kindness is compassion in action. Small deeds that bring light into someone else's darkness. Humility is choosing to serve rather than demand, to lift others up rather than seek your own way. Gentleness is strength under control, offering peace instead of harshness. And patience. Patience is the steady endurance to love others even when it takes time, even when it is hard. Paul reminds us that we are God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved. Before we put on these virtues, we must remember who we are. You are chosen, not by accident, but by design. You are holy, not because of your perfection, but because Christ has made you His own. You are dearly loved, not conditionally, but eternally. When you know your identity, you can live out your calling. You clothe yourself with compassion and patience, not to earn God's love, but because you already have it. There will be days when this feels difficult, when someone speaks harshly to you and patience seems impossible, when life feels unfair and compassion feels too costly, when pride rises up and humility feels like weakness. But these are the very moments when you are invited to choose differently, to put on Christ-like virtues instead of the world's reactions. Like garments, they may not always feel natural at first, but the more you wear them, the more they become part of you. Paul also says, "Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you." Yet forgiveness is not easy, but it is essential. To clothe yourself in compassion and patience means making space for the failures of others, just as God has made space for yours. His forgiveness flows to you so that it can flow through you. And above all, Paul writes, "Put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity." Love is the belt that holds every other virtue in place. Without love, compassion is shallow, kindness is fleeting, patience is thin. But with love, they become strong, enduring, and life-giving. So tonight, as you prepare for rest, picture yourself laying aside the garments of the day, the stress, the frustration, the impatience. Imagine the Lord offering you new clothing for your heart: compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience. One by one, put them on. Feel the weight of love binding them all together. And let peace settle over you as you remember, you are chosen, you are holy, you are dearly loved. Tomorrow will bring opportunities to live this out. But for tonight, let your heart rest in the truth that God is clothing you even now, with His grace, His forgiveness, and His love that never fails. Life with others is not always easy. Misunderstandings happen. Words are spoken too quickly. Differences rub against each other and cause tension. Paul knew this well, which is why in his letter to the Ephesians, he urged believers to walk in a way worthy of their calling. He wrote, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love." Humility is the foundation of this way of living. To be humble is to let go of pride, to set aside the need to always be right or to always be first. Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking of yourself less. It is choosing to see others with value, to listen before speaking, to serve rather than demand. Humility creates space for love to flourish. Gentleness follows close behind. Gentleness is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is the ability to respond softly when anger would be easier, to offer peace when conflict calls for war. Imagine a strong hand that knows how to hold fragile glass without breaking it. That is gentleness. When you clothe yourself in gentleness, you reflect the heart of Christ, who said of himself, "I am gentle and humble in heart." Patience is the companion of humility and gentleness. To be patient is to give others time to grow, time to change, time to learn. It is bearing with people even when they frustrate you, even when progress feels slow. Patience is not passive. It is active love stretched across time. It is the quiet strength that keeps relationships from breaking under the weight of imperfection. Paul calls this way of living bearing with one another in love. Love does not ignore flaws, but it chooses to carry them with grace. Love does not demand perfection, but it remains steady even in the face of disappointment. This is the kind of love God shows us every day: humble, gentle, patient. And Paul urges us to extend the same love to others. Perhaps tonight you feel weary of carrying the weight of broken relationships. Maybe patience feels thin, gentleness feels impossible, humility feels too hard. Hear Paul's words not as a burden, but as an invitation. You are not asked to live this way in your own strength. The Spirit of God is at work in you, shaping your heart, teaching you to walk in love. Think of it like clothing yourself each morning. You choose what to put on. Paul is saying, choose humility instead of pride. Choose gentleness instead of harshness. Choose patience instead of frustration. Choose love as the thread that ties them all together. And when you fail, as everyone sometimes does, return again to the grace of Christ, who clothes you in His mercy. As you prepare to rest tonight, imagine yourself laying down the garments of pride, anger, and impatience. Picture the Lord offering you new garments, soft, light, and beautiful. Humility, gentleness, patience. One by one, put them on, until your heart feels covered in His peace. Then whisper this prayer: Lord, teach me to bear with others in love, as you have borne with me. Tomorrow will bring opportunities to live this out. You may face words that sting or actions that test your patience. But tonight, you can rest in the assurance that God's Spirit is already preparing you. He is the one who makes humility possible, gentleness real, patience lasting. So close your eyes now, beloved child of God. Let His love cover you. Let His Spirit renew you. And rest in this truth. You are called not to carry perfection, but to walk in humility, gentleness, and patience, reflecting the love of Christ to the world around you. Love is a word we hear often. But Paul, in his first letter to the Corinthians, paints a picture of love that goes far deeper than feelings or fleeting emotions. He writes, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails." These words were written to a community that struggled with division, pride, and selfishness. They remind us that love is not about what we say, but how we live. Patience and kindness are not glamorous virtues, but they are the foundation of real love. Love waits without giving up. Love serves without seeking return. Love does not rush to anger, nor does it cling to past hurts. Instead, love covers wounds with forgiveness and opens doors with grace. Think of patience. To love patiently means to give others space to grow, to stumble, and to try again. It means choosing not to rush or demand, but to walk alongside gently, even when progress is slow. Patience is love stretched across time, enduring through seasons of difficulty. And think of kindness. Kindness is love in motion. It is expressed in the smile offered to someone discouraged, in the helping hand extended to the weary, in the gentle words spoken when silence might have been easier. Kindness may seem small, but its impact is immeasurable. It reflects the very heart of Christ, who treated even the broken and the outcast with dignity and compassion. Paul reminds us also of what love is not. It does not boast or insist on its own way. It does not dishonor or manipulate. Love is not proud, because pride puts self above others. Love is not resentful, because resentment builds walls where God calls us to build bridges. True love is humble, forgiving, and selfless. This kind of love is not something we can create on our own. It flows from God Himself, for God is love. When we experience His love, patient and kind toward us, it teaches us to extend the same to others. Think of how patient He has been with you, how many times He has forgiven, how many times He has waited for you to return. Think of His kindness, blessings given freely, mercies new each morning. Grace upon grace poured into your life. His love is the source of the love you are called to live. Perhaps tonight you feel weary, carrying the weight of broken relationships or the ache of unmet love. Hear these words not as a burden, but as comfort. Love never fails, not because human love is perfect, but because God's love is eternal. His love will not run out, will not give up, will not let you go. And His love, living in you, can teach your heart to be patient, to be kind, to endure. As you prepare to rest, imagine God's love wrapping around you like a blanket. Feel its patience covering your failures, its kindness soothing your wounds, its faithfulness holding you steady. Let His love remind you that you are deeply known, fully forgiven, and eternally cherished. Then whisper this prayer: Lord, teach me to love as you love, patiently, kindly, humbly, enduringly. Let your love flow through me to others. Close your eyes tonight with this truth. Love never fails. The love of God has carried you this far, and it will carry you still. And tomorrow, as you rise, you can walk clothed in that love, patient, kind, and enduring, because the one who is love lives in you. Life often tests our patience. Someone speaks harshly, and the impulse is to answer back quickly. Circumstances delay, and frustration rises. Dreams take longer than expected, and discouragement grows. Proverbs 14 offers a gentle but profound reminder. Whoever is patient has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered displays folly. Patience is not simply waiting. It is how you wait. To be patient is to pause before reacting, to breathe instead of bursting, to trust instead of rushing. Proverbs tells us that patience leads to understanding. Why? Because patience gives space for perspective. In the heat of the moment, anger clouds your vision, but patience allows you to see more clearly, to understand the other person, to discern God's timing, to recognize what truly matters. Think of a wise teacher. When a student stumbles, the teacher does not snap in frustration, but patiently explains again, guiding the student step by step. That patience is rooted in understanding, the recognition that growth takes time. In the same way, when you respond with patience in life, you reflect God's wisdom, which sees beyond the moment to the bigger picture. Patience is also a reflection of God's own heart. Scripture says He is slow to anger, abounding in love. Think of how patient He has been with you, how many times He has waited for you to return, how many mistakes He has forgiven, how often He has carried you with gentle mercy. His patience is not weakness, it is strength wrapped in love. When you choose patience, you mirror His character. Proverbs warns that quick temper leads to folly. How many regrets are born from words spoken too fast or actions taken in anger? Impulses may feel powerful in the moment, but they often leave scars behind. Patience, on the other hand, leaves peace. It allows reconciliation instead of division, healing instead of harm, growth instead of regret. Perhaps tonight you feel your patience wearing thin. Maybe delays have tested you, or relationships have strained you. Hear this proverb as an invitation. Patience is not something you must conjure on your own. It grows as you lean into God's Spirit, who produces in you the fruit of patience. As you rest in Him, He shapes your responses, slows your anger, and gives you understanding that goes deeper than your own. Picture yourself tonight in a place of calm. The frustrations of the day are set aside. The Lord sits beside you, steady and unhurried. He is not anxious. He is not impatient. His presence surrounds you with peace. And from that peace, patience flows. Patience with yourself, with others, and with the unfolding of tomorrow. As you prepare to sleep, breathe slowly and let this truth settle into your heart. Whoever is patient has great understanding. Ask the Lord to give you His perspective, His calm, His love. Tomorrow will bring moments that test you. But tonight, you can rest knowing that He is patient with you. And through Him, you can be patient with others. Patience does not mean everything will be easy. But it does mean you will see with clearer eyes, respond with gentler words, and walk with deeper wisdom. And that is the gift Proverbs offers. Understanding born from patience, rooted in God's love. So close your eyes now, beloved child of God. Release the quick tempers of the day. Rest in His patience toward you. And trust that tomorrow, His Spirit will clothe you with the calm strength to wait well, love deeply, and live with great understanding. There are times when life feels unfair. The wicked seem to prosper, while those who walk with integrity struggle. The waiting grows long, and frustration rises like a storm inside the heart. In those moments, the psalmist gives us this gentle command: be still before the Lord, and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Being still is not easy. Our natural instinct is to act, to fight, to fix what feels wrong. But Psalm 37 calls us to another posture. Not frantic striving, but quiet trust. To be still before the Lord is to release your grip on control, to rest your restless heart in His hands, and to believe that He is working even when you cannot yet see. Waiting patiently is not passive. It is not doing nothing. It is an active trust that God's timing is perfect. Like seeds buried in the soil, unseen growth is happening even when the surface looks bare. The psalmist assures us that those who trust in the Lord will inherit the land, that their steps are established by Him, that though they stumble, they will not fall, for the Lord upholds them with His hand. Think of how the night sky works. When darkness falls, it may seem as though the light has vanished. Yet above the clouds, the stars remain. Waiting for morning does not make the sun rise any faster, but morning always comes. In the same way, your waiting will not last forever. The dawn of God's promise will break, and His justice, His goodness, His love will shine. Psalm 37 reminds us also not to let envy or worry take root. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. When you fix your eyes on what others have, bitterness can grow. But when you turn your eyes to the Lord, peace returns. He sees the whole story. He knows the ending. And He promises that those who trust in Him will not be forsaken. Perhaps tonight, your heart feels restless. You have been waiting for an answer, waiting for justice, waiting for peace. The silence feels heavy, and impatience presses close. Hear this psalm as a whisper from God. Be still. Wait patiently. Trust me. His plans are not delayed. They are unfolding at exactly the right time. So imagine yourself now, laying down your anxious thoughts before Him. Picture your clenched hands slowly opening, releasing the need to control outcomes. See yourself sitting quietly in His presence, like a child resting in the arms of a loving Father. In that stillness, you are safe. In that stillness, you are held. In that stillness, you learn to trust that His timing is always better than yours. The psalmist says, "The salvation of the righteous comes from the Lord. He is their stronghold in time of trouble. The Lord helps them and delivers them." That is your promise tonight. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. The Lord is your stronghold, your deliverer, your faithful keeper. So as you prepare for sleep, Let these words settle deep into your spirit. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Say them slowly. Let them quiet your worries. Let them soften the ache of waiting. Trust that while you rest, He is still working. Tomorrow may not bring every answer, but it will bring His presence. And one day, in His perfect time, you will see the fruit of your waiting. Until then, rest in His care. Be still, wait patiently, and know that the Lord is faithful. There are times when God's promises feel distant, like stars shining far away in the night sky. You believe His word, but the waiting stretches long. Doubt whispers, maybe it won't happen. Maybe you misunderstood. Maybe the promise isn't for you. In those moments, the writer of Hebrews offers steady encouragement. We do not want you to become lazy, but to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. Faith and patience, two companions on the journey toward God's promises. Faith is the trust that holds on even when you cannot see. Patience is the endurance that waits without giving up. Together, they carry you through seasons of silence, through years of longing, until the promise unfolds in God's perfect time. The writer points to Abraham as an example. God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars. Yet Abraham and Sarah waited year after year with empty arms. The promise seemed impossible, but Abraham held on through faith and patience. And when the time was right, God fulfilled His word. Isaac was born, and the promise lived. This is why Hebrews reminds us that God's promises are certain. Unlike human words that can falter, God swore by Himself, there is no one greater. His oath and His word are unchanging, a double assurance that what He has spoken will come to pass. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. Think of that image, an anchor. Waves crash, winds howl, and the boat rocks, but the anchor holds firm beneath the surface. In the same way, God's promises anchor you in the storms of life. Faith and patience are the ropes that keep you tied to that anchor, holding you steady when everything else feels uncertain. Perhaps tonight, you are waiting for something God has promised. A breakthrough, a healing, a door to open, peace to come. The waiting feels endless, and impatience presses close. Hear the encouragement of Hebrews. Do not let go. Through faith and patience, you will inherit the promise. The God who cannot lie, who never fails, is faithful to His word. Waiting does not mean nothing is happening. Just as a seed hidden underground is quietly sprouting, God is at work in unseen ways. He is aligning circumstances, preparing your heart, and shaping the future. Faith says, I believe even when I cannot see. Patience says, I will wait because I trust His timing. Together, they prepare you to receive fully what God has planned. So as you prepare to rest tonight, imagine yourself tying your heart to that anchor of hope. See the rope of faith secure and strong. Feel patience steadying your steps, reminding you that you do not need every answer right now. Trust that God is faithful. His promises are not fragile. His word will not fail. Whisper this prayer. Lord, give me faith to believe and patience to wait. Anchor my heart in your promises and keep me steady until the day they are fulfilled. Then close your eyes in peace. Let the waves of worry fade. Let the winds of impatience grow quiet. For the anchor holds, and the promises of God are sure. There are moments when life feels surrounded by darkness. Injustice seems to flourish. Goodness feels rare, and hope appears distant. The prophet Micah knew this kind of season well. He looked around at a world filled with corruption, betrayal, and brokenness. And yet, he declared with confidence, But as for me, I will look to the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. Micah's words are a choice. He does not deny the pain of what he sees. He does not pretend that everything is fine, but he chooses trust over despair. He chooses to wait, not on changing circumstances, not on the strength of people, but on God himself, the God of salvation, the one who hears. Waiting for God is not passive resignation. It is active hope. It is lifting your eyes from the chaos around you and fixing them on the one who rules above it all. It is saying, even if I do not yet see the answer, even if the night feels long, I will wait because I know the dawn will come. Micah goes on to proclaim, though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. That is the promise you can hold on to tonight. Darkness may surround you, but it cannot overcome you. The light of the Lord is not fragile. It shines in the deepest night, guiding, comforting, and reminding you that you are never abandoned. Waiting on God also carries a deep assurance. My God will hear me. Think about that for a moment. The Creator of heaven and earth bends his ear toward you. He does not ignore your prayers, even the quietest ones whispered through tears. He does not grow weary of your voice. Every cry, every sigh, every longing is heard by him, and he treasures them all. Perhaps you are in a season where waiting feels endless. You have prayed and longed, but the answer has not yet come. Hear Micah's words as your own. I will wait for the God of my salvation, not because it is easy, but because you know he is faithful. His silence is not absence. His timing is not delay. He is working in ways unseen, and his salvation will come. Picture yourself tonight sitting quietly in his presence. Around you, the world may feel uncertain, but his light shines gently, pushing back the dark. You do not need to rush. You do not need to fear. You only need to wait. And waiting with him is never wasted. Micah reminds us, too, that God's restoration is certain. He will again have compassion on us. He will tread our sins underfoot and hurl all our iniquities into the depths of the sea. The God you are waiting for is not indifferent. He is a God of mercy, a God of compassion, a God who brings salvation and forgiveness. So as you prepare to rest, let these words settle deep into your soul. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. Whisper them slowly, like a prayer. Let them calm your anxious thoughts. Let them quiet the noise of impatience. Trust that the one you are waiting for is worth the wait. Close your eyes, knowing that you are heard, that you are loved, and that you are held in the light of God's presence. The night may feel long, but morning will come. And in the meantime, you can rest in peace, waiting for the God of your salvation. There are days when the weight of this world feels heavy. Our bodies grow tired. Pain lingers. Sickness steals strength. Our hearts carry grief, disappointment, and longing. Creation itself groans under the burden of brokenness, storms, decay, injustice, loss. Paul describes it honestly in Romans 8. All of creation is waiting, longing for the day when everything will be made new. And in the middle of that groaning, he reminds us of a glorious promise. We wait eagerly for our adoption to sonship, the redemption of our bodies. This waiting is not empty. It is filled with hope. Adoption means belonging. It means being fully claimed, fully welcomed, fully secure as children of God. Already through Christ, you are his. Already, his Spirit testifies with your spirit that you are beloved. But one day, that adoption will be complete, seen in its fullness. You will stand before him, whole and unbroken, no longer weighed down by sin, fear, or weakness. Paul calls this the redemption of our bodies. Right now, our bodies feel the effects of a fallen world: sickness, fatigue, pain, fragility. But one day, even our bodies will be renewed. No more weakness, no more tears, no more death. You will be clothed in resurrection life, shining with the glory of God. This is the hope that steadies the heart in the midst of suffering. The best is still to come. He writes, "For in this hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently." Hope, by its very nature, looks forward. It anchors us in what we cannot yet see, but know is certain. It is not wishful thinking. It is confident expectation, because the one who promised is faithful. And while we wait, we are not left alone. Paul reminds us that the Spirit helps us in our weakness. When words fail, when prayers feel too heavy to speak, the Spirit himself intercedes with groanings too deep for words. Think about that. Even in your silence, you are not unheard. Even in your weakness, you are not abandoned. God himself is praying for you, carrying you, holding you close. Perhaps tonight, your body feels weary. Perhaps your soul feels restless. You long for wholeness, for peace, for the day when the struggle will end. Hear Paul's encouragement. Your waiting is not in vain. Every ache, every tear, every longing is pointing you toward the day of redemption. You are not forgotten. You are not lost in the waiting. You are held in the arms of a Father who has promised to finish what he began. So as you prepare for rest, picture yourself as part of creation. Like the trees reaching upward, like the earth longing for spring, waiting eagerly for renewal. Imagine the day when adoption is complete, when redemption is visible, when all things are made new. Let that hope settle deep in your soul, calming your fears and steadying your heart. Whisper this prayer: Lord, help me wait with patience. Teach me to rest in your promise. Fill me with hope for the redemption to come. Then close your eyes, knowing that this hope is sure. The night may feel long, but morning is on its way. The groaning of today will give way to the glory of tomorrow. And one day, you will see with your own eyes what you now hold by faith: the redemption of your body, the fullness of your adoption, the joy of being home with Him forever. The book of Revelation is filled with visions of struggle and triumph, of battles between darkness and light. It was written to believers who were facing persecution, pressure, and fear. In the middle of these powerful visions, we hear this reminder. This calls for patient endurance on the part of the saints who keep God's commands and remain faithful to Jesus. Patient endurance is not a passive waiting. It is an active holding on. It means standing firm when the world shakes, keeping faith when others fall away, and obeying God even when it costs something. Endurance is the steady heartbeat of faith. It keeps you moving forward, one step at a time, even when the journey feels long. John's vision in Revelation 14 contrasts those who follow the Lamb with those who follow the world. The Lamb, Jesus Christ, leads his people with gentleness and truth. To follow him is not always easy, but it leads to life. Patient endurance is what allows believers to stay the course, to walk in obedience, even when temptation and opposition surround them. Think of endurance as a candle burning through the night. The wind blows, the darkness presses close, but the flame does not go out. It flickers, but it remains. So it is with the faith of the saints. By the Spirit's power, your flame is kept alive, no matter how fierce the storm. Patient endurance also means trusting that God's justice will prevail. Revelation shows us that evil may seem strong for a season, but it will not have the final word. Those who endure in Christ will see his victory. Those who remain faithful will share in his glory. Every tear, every prayer, every act of faith in the dark will be remembered and rewarded. Perhaps tonight you feel weary in your walk of faith. The weight of obedience feels heavy. Temptations press close. The waiting for answers feels endless. Hear the voice of Revelation 14 speaking gently into your spirit. This calls for patient endurance. You are not forgotten in the struggle. You are being strengthened. And you are part of a story much bigger than your own. A story where Christ is the victor, and his people share in his triumph. The passage goes on to say, "Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on." Yes, says the Spirit, they will rest from their labor, for their deeds will follow them. Even death itself cannot erase the faithfulness of the saints. Every act of endurance, every prayer whispered in the night, every moment of obedience is remembered by God. Nothing is wasted. So, as you prepare to rest tonight, let these words be your comfort. Endurance is your calling, but you are not enduring alone. The Spirit strengthens you. The Lamb leads you. The Father watches over you. And in the end, your faith will not be in vain. Picture yourself walking a long road. The way is steep, but at the end shines a light. Along the way, the Lamb walks beside you, steady and strong. His presence gives you courage to take the next step. His voice whispers, "Keep going, be patient, endure. The reward is certain." Let this be your prayer tonight. Lord, give me patient endurance. Help me to remain faithful to Jesus, to keep walking in obedience, to trust in your victory. Then close your eyes with peace. The night may be long, but the dawn of his glory is coming. Patient endurance will carry you there, and one day, you will stand with the saints before the throne, no longer waiting, no longer struggling, but rejoicing forever in the victory of the Lamb. Now rest, child of God. Your waiting is not wasted. Every delay is wrapped in God's wisdom, every pause filled with his purpose. Sleep tonight knowing that patience isn't about being strong. It's about leaning on the one who is. Jesus holds the story. Jesus holds you, and his timing is always perfect. So breathe deeply. Let go of the questions that keep circling. Lay them down in his hands. For in his presence, patience becomes peace, and peace becomes rest.